Hey everybody, it's Christian Buckley doing another MVP Buzz Chat, and I'm talking today with Sasha. Hello.
Hello, Christian, and thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. It's been a while since I've talked to a fellow RD, so we'll get into that as well. MVP and RD, all welcome here. But for folks that don't know you, who are you, where are you, and what do you do?
Well, I'm based in Croatia, but I work all over the Europe and worldwide. I've been an MVP since 2018 and already 2 years. So I'm a newbie in RT world,
Yeah,
and have been in an industry for a long time, since 80s.
yeah.
So late 80s, when I started breaking computers with a Windows version 3.0. So that
Yeah,
was the first one.
that was so I started breaking stuff at 3.1 officially. Like I was doing other stuff, but I was more on the Mac side in the late 80s. But
Yeah.
is I often talk like the young kids, like they don't understand what we had to deal with. In fact, I think
Oh
I
yeah.
just mentioned to somebody like the early era of the internet of kicking off a query and like typing it in, starting the query, the search into the data, whatever, getting up and going to lunch, knowing that it would probably
Yeah.
still be running by the time I got back from lunch.
I know the BNCs and golfers and Netscape navigators and everything. So, and Alta Vistas and so on. So it's
Yes, yes.
it's been a ride. And but and then somehow I also started doing training and consulting as well. So, and then I had various roles, uh, well, the path was a little bit ups and downs, and different jobs. And but eventually I started uh, being employed full time in IT, and since 20 plus years I've been doing this. Well, since I'm a civil engineer as well, I've been doing some project design as well. So here and there, I do some engineering related stuff as well.
Yeah.
But own a couple of companies that we do engineering, architecting, consulting, training, upskilling, and some security stuff, penetration testing, and so on. So there's a lot going on.
Well, that's always the question. So on the MVP side, so you're a security MVP, correct?
I was Azure MVP for 7 years. Then I had two titles, security and Azure, and then since last year I'm only security.
Yeah.
So
Only like because there's not enough going on in security to keep
oh,
people busy.
yeah,
But
there's a lot going there.
it's a
So
lot. Well, that's
yeah,
always the difficult thing is Microsoft seems to they change around every few years. The kind of the buckets around the categories that may
yeah,
evolve and change. Because I think I've remained like I'm primarily a SharePoint, but now SharePoint Teams, like everybody, SharePoint Teams, Copilot, like that side. But it's all under the M365 bucket.
yeah.
That evolves and changes a few times. But people do even move around categories as their roles change.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I was doing all the firewalls and application gateways and everything security related in Azure anyway. So after a little bit of shuffling, Microsoft consolidated all these categories. So now I'm all in security. Although you can't touch anything nowadays without nothing exists that doesn't have some security attribute
Right.
or security hue
Yeah.
around it. So whether it's AI or on premises, I still do on premises as well. A lot of companies are still there, not in the cloud, exclusively on premises. So there's a lot going on in security, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think it's depending on who you ask, right? Whom you ask. If you're in cybersecurity, then it's good because you're gonna have the job. But if you're a company, then more and more bad things happening in the security world. So
I've been involved in the SaaS world really since the phrase was coined back in the late 90s. And so went to work for my first SaaS based company in 2001.
Mhm.
And having been involved that long and working with customers all over the world, I spent years working primarily with companies around Asia Pacific, and then added few European countries. It's nothing greater than working with both Asia Pacific and Europe. That just means that I didn't get any sleep,
Yeah,
with the time zones. But all that time, in all of the conversations that I've had, security is always number one issue. So it's
it
always
is.
been, and so that's
Somehow,
that's not so
yeah,
surprising.
somehow you always get to you touch security somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I always like to ask as part of this series. So and then we'll talk about RD after this. But like, what was your path to becoming MVP? Like, was it something that you went after? Did you know other fellow MVPs? Like, what was your origin story there?
well, I was I I was teaching a lot, and I was holding courses, and then I started going speaking at conferences, and also visiting MCT summits and conferences out there. So a lot of my friends already have been an MVP for time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of I wouldn't say natural, but it was I got interested in what's this MVP thing, and then I'm since trainers or teachers or consultants or we like to talk a lot, and and
Yeah.
speaking was natural. So it was a kind of it helped me to get the MVP.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
it's
was
and I know that again, a lot of people ask the question, and then one of my first responses to people, because I'm sure you get people all the time that find out you're an MVP and ask you about that, and how do you become, and one of the things I say is like, well, how involved are you in community? Like, what things are you doing? Because it's very difficult to then just go, it's like, oh, I'm not doing any of that today. I'm going to
yeah
start now and take time and thinking, okay, well, if I just do this for a year, will I become an MVP? And I'm not saying that that's not possible following
yeah
that route, but it comes, I think it's a lot easier if you're already doing those kinds of activities, if they're the kinds of things you're doing
exactly
already, regardless
yeah.
of the MVP program.
It was like you mentioned, it was like a smooth transition. So since I was teaching people to do stuff, then they asked me, can you help us doing on this project? Then I said yes. Since you are helping us on this project, can you show us how these things work? Okay, then I did that. And then if well, why not expand it a little bit to the whole company and to different cities and so on. So and then we also had a local user group years ago that was now it's extinct. It's shut down. But and that was the path. So it was kind of a natural expansion of what I already did.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask though. So as being for 2 years in the RD program, I know that probably the first question, most people don't know what an RD is, a Microsoft Regional Director. Um,
Yeah.
do you like? How do you answer that? What is the difference between an RD and an MVP?
Well, it's about
Oh, I lost your camera there.
yeah, I see you, but I don't know what's going on with the camera. I'm trying. I'll try to switch it off, plug out, and then pull the plug in. It's Elgato, so
Yeah,
okay.
Elgato's doing something.
Yeah. So this would be a good moment to
There
say
we go.
how IT people repair cars. So
Yeah,
we switch off the engine, open the door, step outside, and then
get back.
go inside again, and then switch the engine back again.
Excellent.
So, and it helped, like in this case. So,
Yeah,
it was well, an MVP is more focused, more narrow expertise, more in depth. The RD original directory is more. It's I wouldn't say shallower, but it's much wider with um with a sprinkle of business uh, hue, I would say, or paint. And an RD brings a business perspective to the technology, to Microsoft ecosystem, and it's not only how things work and deep understanding of the services and products, but also how to put these services and products in a bigger perspective, how to bring value to the customer, to uh, how to get the best out of it. So it's not the architectural perspective, but it's a much wider and higher, I would say, from a business point of view.
Yeah. It's well, I think one of the mistakes in people thinking about this, and I know a lot of MVPs that are looking at eyeing it and saying, well, is it like a higher level MVP? Is it like the next rung in the ladder? It's like, no, it's completely different
Yeah,
things. Um,
I don't see it it's not, of course, it's not the same thing, but as an RD, I would say you have like you are on a big tall ladder and have a ability to see a little bit uh, in front of you, so a little bit farther. So
right. Well, it's if you think about how the way it was explained to me was that it's a as an RD, you have kind of the foot in the door with like it was explained like the top 300 executives at Microsoft. So it's great on the visibility side, but where RDs are often brought in, and I know occasionally you'll hear from various teams that will come and say, "Hey, we're looking for anybody that is experienced in these other competing technologies or brands that work with Microsoft, but also have these other technology backgrounds." Where we like, I know this has happened a number of times. I think I've been in RD now. This is like my 6th or 7th year. I have to go back and look at
mhm,
which one it is, but it's I think renewed twice. But it's where to write like a white paper that is internal only to Microsoft. So it's helping Microsoft to formulate their thinking around an area or
exactly.
competition or a space or new problems, set kind of thing.
Bringing a business perspective, a
Correct.
unique perspective that each of RDs actually bring. So
Right. I enjoy a lot of the conversations, a lot of the threads, many that I don't
yeah.
participate in, but where where somebody comes in and says, look, reaches out and says, I need to figure out who to talk to. Um, I'm having this experience with our very large partner. This is what they've experienced.
Mhm.
Like, this is unacceptable. We need to do this. This is how I'm solving it. But long term, like, this is how the program does not meet this category of need. And I'm seeing it repeatedly. And so it's having a voice in it can impact Microsoft's licensing, their approach, their messaging and positioning for something. Um, and of course, Microsoft sometimes comes back and says, we know, we're aware. Just
Exactly.
like, with a product feature as an MVP, we might say, hey, you made a change, you moved a button on a screen. This is like, did you not consider this?
Yeah.
Like I had a great conversation, for example, and I think they wouldn't have listened to me if I wasn't an MVP. I don't think they knew, the Microsoft employees, what an RD was, but that's okay. Not everybody
Yeah.
does. But around that, the Loop team was made some changes and did not
Mhm.
take into consideration all the historical security and governance issues
Mhm.
around
Yeah.
that area, and they broke things. And
Yeah.
so it was great to have that discussion um, as an MVP or an RD to have those kinds of discussions with Microsoft.
Exactly. Yeah, because you have a unique experience, you have a unique customers, you have a different angle view on the same thing, and
Yeah.
then you bring unique value to
I
that.
know one comment because there are some RDs that are not also MVPs.
Yeah.
and it was like a word of warning was given to me about like, hey, you need to be able to kind of balance both of these things. Have you felt any like again, if you're already doing those things naturally, those activities where you're doing the business side of things as well as the more concentrated around product focus, have you ever felt like, oh, I need to do more than I'm capable of here between the two programs, or have you been able to keep it balanced?
I don't know. Maybe since I'm new in the RD program, I'm consolidating my thoughts still after
Yeah,
2 years. And sometimes it can be very intimidating in joining the conversation because you always feel that all these people are have been already there for a long time, so better
which
not
is
to
true.
say anything
Yeah.
inappropriate or stupid, I would say. But yeah, and in that case, I would say maybe a little bit more engagement in the, I don't know, in the RD program, but we'll see how it's gonna be. So, but
I would
maybe,
say that the only stupid question is the one that's never asked, but that's not entirely true. There are some
yeah,
stupid questions.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Well, so what are like what topics are you focused on now? Like, what are you really passionate about in either of those as an MVP and RD? Like, are you involved in any, anything that you're just super excited about that's recent, that's kind of driving some of your content and output?
Well, security it is, but it's security well, I wouldn't say in general, but in Microsoft ecosystem. When I say security in Microsoft, I mean M365 security in Azure and Sentinel and XDR and everything, but also making customers and people aware of the capabilities, what can they achieve with Microsoft technology, and also because I think that it's un, it's underestimated a lot of times based on different I wouldn't say different feedback from different people. So it helps when you're an MVP or an RD, well, because it's expected from you not to talk stupid things, and to
Mhm.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So uh, I like when customers have a light bulb moment, and when they say, "Oh, we didn't know that we can do that in this world, so maybe we should try it." And that's also a very good thing. But it's also raising awareness of the security issues and the threats that are out there. So especially relating to AI and all the, I would say, new things that people are just consuming, embracing without thinking. And well, I have so many cases that I can't tell about, but always the people are the ones that we need to take care of, the workers, the people, the attendees, or the operators, engineers, and managers. So the human centric side of security is the also the most important part, I would say.
Yeah,
So, and most
I think there's
vulnerable.
so much for people that want to like kind of go down this path that are becoming interested in becoming MVPs. One of the places I always recommend to start is like depending on what you do, if you're a consultant or on the product side, of your company, is to go and look at what's the feedback from the community, from customers. What are
Yeah,
their problems, their pain points, and around that, like there's never going to be a shortage of content of written or video or whatever format around those areas. I mean, if you're going in, for example, and I've throughout my career been in operations, worked with support organizations, going in and you look at like what are the top 3 trending like problem areas, like that is the first place to start, like to
yeah,
create content around those things. it's the potential. That's how products are started, is solving those pain points. If you go look at most of the ISVs that are certainly in the M365 space, they were started from, a lot of them, from consulting companies that kept seeing a problem and then went and developed a solution for it and then marketed it as a standalone product. But it's much like that with becoming an MVP and going out and answering those kinds of questions.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But well, so I always like to ask too. So is like your primary conference. You talked about your speaking at conferences and things that are out there. What are your other output types? Are you a video person? Are you a writer?
Well, I authored a couple of books, a Windows Server and M365 security compliance and Defender for Cloud and so on. So another one is being developed. I'm authoring another one, security related. It's going to be announced very quickly. So it's going to be like draft announcement.
Congrats. And, I know how much as I always say with books, it's the most amount of work you can do for the least amount of pay. Like it's a lot of effort.
That's why I sleep fast. So
yeah, right. But it's but of course, I'm joking when I say that, folks. I mean, it's like for the book itself and thinking I'm going to go sell 1 million copies of this. Like, no, not for a tech.
Oh no.
But
I loved Windows 7 era because I bought all Windows Server resource kits and Windows resource kits, 4,400 pages, and I had time to read through all of these books, and I still have them. So, and we had like 15 years to dive deep into it, but now you can't do that. So, and as soon as you publish the book, it's outdated. But it still has some value, I think. But you need a different approach. Unfortunately, we're not going to be next J.K. Rowling, but in writing IT books nowadays, maybe before in the Windows 7 resource era, probably, but not today, I think. But still, there's room for some good book and especially in the architectural area, security area, and data and so on. So there is room for that. But I also do mentoring as well. So I have some projects helping others as well, and been involved in Magic Cup as well, and but mostly speaking. Nowadays.
Well, that stuff too. Again, that's another great thing for people that want to like how to get involved. There's like what you just talked about. There's all these different kind of coaching and mentoring. They're always looking for volunteers to help with those events and things. And that's a great way to get to know people within your local or regional community. Get involved, see, and then you start mirroring what those people are doing. Get involved and stay involved.
Exactly. So wherever you can help the people. So I also have been a developer. The first thing I learned was assembler in ZX Spectrum. it was a long time ago. Then I went on to the dark side and then started to work with IT pro stuff. But did Pascal and did some Delphi as well and so on, and but it helps. So helping young students or high school or elementary school, helping them, and you don't have to help them on a level 300, 400. Help if you want to start mentoring or helping others, just start tutoring, helping, teaching elementary school, high school students, and it's very rewarding and very fun as well. So I did a lot of Office, Word, Excel. I love Excel and Word. I thought students. I had students from age 10 to 80, 85, something like that. So it's always rewarding when you see how you can help people
Yeah.
in IT.
I always I'm frustrated when people say to me, well, kind of two phrases that irritate me is somebody says like, I don't know what to like write about, create content about, and I'm like, I was like, okay, I was like, I realized people would get like writer's block, kind of like, what do I go and focus
Yeah,
on? But so that's all. I do a lot of coaching around that. But the other half of that is like I don't know, and like opportunities, like where I can go and help. I mean, you just spoke of one. I mean, just go to your local school district, for example, and say, hey, like
yeah,
I'm an expert on these areas. I'm available. I'd love to donate some time if there's any interest. Here's the various topics where I could come in and speak to,
exactly.
from elementary to university. I'm available for these things for free. Just I'm happy to help. I mean, that's a
There,
great way to
yeah,
get started.
there's Meetup now. There are a lot of user groups. So we are, thank God, we are past Corona. I don't want to mention these years, but
Right.
you can finally we can go and speak in person and join user groups in person and start speaking there as well. But it's not just about speaking; it's also getting to know all the people in the industry, and then some of them became my friends a long time ago, and still my friends, and we hang around. So, but it's also it. For example, I always say, so if you might get unemployed one day, or you might get a better opportunity, that's also one thing. Yeah, I always go and listen to the presentation, even especially if they're not my thing. So you can always learn something. So
Yeah. Agreed. Well, it's
yeah,
I'm one of those people that always said that if I ever won the lottery, I probably, if I never had to work again, I'd probably go and become a perpetual student and just like be learning, going in like that.
yeah,
I love that idea of just going
yeah,
and doing in depth on different topics.
yeah.
Um,
It's like,
but I'd take long vacations in between semesters as well, though. Yeah.
yeah.
But
You reminded me of that movie About Time, when the father and son just went into closet and went back in
oh
time,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that's right.
reread the books. All the books that they wanted to. Well, actually, the father wanted to read the books, and he did. So
I just
that's what
watched that movie this weekend again. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's a favorite. I love
yeah,
that. Yeah.
it is. It is.
But yeah, it's a if you've not seen it, is it called like In Time? Is that the name of it?
Or About Time, or something
Or
like
About
that.
Time, something
Yeah,
like that. Anyway, yeah,
yeah,
no, it's great. But yeah. Well, Sasha, I really appreciate your time connecting, and hope to see you coming out for Summit.
yeah. I
All
will
right.
be there. Yeah,
So I think
I will
this
be.
actually goes live right around Summit, I think. But anyway, yeah. Well,
I
so
will be
maybe
there.
I'll see you
Will
there.
be that whole week. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I just, in fact, I just booked my flights this morning finally, but
Oh, okay.
I leave late Friday, but you don't want to miss the RD sessions are awesome, usually. So
Yeah.
towards the end of the week. But anyway, well, it's great to see you. For folks that want to connect with you, reach out to us. Where are you most active on social? Like, where can people find you?
Um, LinkedIn, X, Blue Sky, and
You're
Twitter
everywhere.
and
Okay.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay. Well, of course, I'll have all of your links that are in the blog post as well as in the
yeah.
YouTube description. So, well,
And
Sasha,
there's
really
also
appreciate.
the web page as well. So
Of course, so we'll have that
links
link up
there.
there. So,
Yeah,
well, Sasha, I really appreciate your time.
appreciate it. Hold on.